Hi, kindergarten. Today we're going to hear a new story, and today's story is called The Voyage of the Mayflower. Our first vocabulary word is cargo. Cargo means goods carried by land, air, or sea. So in this picture, you can see it's a Costco boat, and it has a bunch of different supplies on it. So this is a cargo ship because it's carrying goods that are going to go to Costco. Okay, our next word is destination. Destination is a landing place, the place a person is on their way to. So if you were going on vacation, wherever you go is your destination. If you wake up and get in the car or get on the train in the morning, your destination is probably school. Our next word is glory. Glory means praise or honor given to someone who's important or does something good. So, for example, you might get this badge if you helped out your friend. You could win an award for being a good kindergarten classmate. And our next word is overboard. That means over the side of a boat or ship into the water. So you see this man is jumping out of a boat onto the water. And our last word is passenger, a person traveling in a vehicle who's not the driver. So if there's a grown-up driving you and you're in the car, you're a passenger, okay? Because you're not the one driving it, you're just a passenger. You could be a passenger in a boat, you could be a passenger in a train, you could be a passenger on a plane, as long as you're not the one driving, okay? We're going to learn about some different passengers in today's story. So first we have to remember, who are the Separatists? They were the people in England who didn't want to share the king's religion. They did not want to attend the Church of England or pray like the king. And why did they decide to leave England? They decided to leave England because the king was trying to punish them for not having his same religion. Okay? Remember, it said the pilgrims were about to go on a journey to a new land that was brand new to them. From then on out, they would be called the Pilgrims. So just so you know, a pilgrimage is usually a special kind of trip made for religious reasons. Like the Separatists, they were going to North America for religious freedom. People who go on a pilgrimage are called pilgrims. Okay, so the Separatists became pilgrims when they went on that journey. Okay, we are going to read our story. Remember, we were in England, over here, an island right off of Europe. We're going over to North America. Here's a better picture. This is Europe, and we have England up there. That star is actually where my brother lives, because he lives in England. And I have a little star for where he lives on my Google Maps. Okay, this is where Christopher Columbus landed. But now that more explorers have gone, they're actually going to head over here, closer to where we are. Okay, that was our original map from Christopher Columbus. And now this is what the map that the Pilgrims are using looks a little bit, or this looks a little bit more like the map they would be using. Here we go. Okay, today's read-aloud is about the Pilgrim's journey to the New World. Listen carefully to find out what happens on their journey across the Atlantic Ocean. On a warm September day in the year 1620, 102 men, women, and children gathered in the port town of Plymouth, England. They walked up the gangplank of a small sailing ship bound for a new life in America. Most of the passengers were separatists. They were not only leaving their country behind, but they were leaving their identity as separatists behind as well. They were now pilgrims, making a pilgrimage in search of religious freedom in the New World. The name of their ship was the Mayflower. It was not meant to be a passenger ship. It was not meant to carry people. Rather, it had been used to carry cargo or goods, so that could be food or supplies, to and from France for many years. The pilgrims were crowded into an area beneath the main deck along with the ship's cannons. "We do not expect trouble," the ship's master told the pilgrims, "but we must be ready in case it comes." Pirates patrol these waters looking for treasure and waiting to capture unprotected ships. The passengers took turns going up on deck for fresh air and exercise. Despite the calm seas, a few of the passengers, unused to the constant motion of the ship, felt ill. It's called being seasick when you get really sick when you're on water. The air between decks was often stale, adding to their discomfort. Gradually, they grow used to their cramped or crowded conditions on board the Mayflower. The Atlantic Ocean, however, was only waiting until they were far from shore to spring her traps on them. "Storm clouds, Captain!" cried a sailor one day. "Aye, aye," replied the captain. "See to it that everything is tied down so I won't wash overboard if we start taking on heavy seas. Warn the passengers to do the same." So they were worried everything was going to fall out of the ship into the ocean. Soon enough, the storms and high winds of the North Atlantic struck with fury. Now, even though those who had been so untroubled by the ship's motion felt sick. So now it's really bumpy and everyone's feeling sick. The Mayflower, tossed high on huge waves, was lifted and dropped down forcefully again and again. Rains poured down upon the ship and dripped between the decks. A few men offered to help the crew. One was tightening some ropes when a great wind hit the Mayflower from the side. Before he could grab its rope, the wave struck with all its might. With a cry, the man was thrown over the side of the boat. He fell out. "Man overboard!" yelled the ship's navigator. 3 men rushed to the side of the ship, throwing ropes toward the struggling man. He managed to grasp one of them and held on desperately as he disappeared beneath the water. Sputtering and gasping for air, he bobbed up to the surface, still holding the rope in his hands. The sailors drew him closer to the ship, and, reaching over the side, one of the sailors grasped the man's arm and pulled him to safety. Fortunately, the storm soon blew itself out, but the passengers remembered their fear. After that, few of them dared go on deck, except in smooth seas. At last, on a clear, cold November day, the cry went up, "Land!" They left in September, so they've been on the ship for almost 2 months. Oof. If a monthly calendar were able for us to look at, we would see that they were going all through September, all through October, and they're in November. Oh my goodness. "Glory to God," the pilgrims cried. Glory means praise or honor given to someone who's important or does something good. And remember, they were leaving for religious reasons. They had crossed the wide ocean and reached the eastern shores of North America at last. The pilgrims left Europe and arrived in America. The pilgrims had no idea what to expect of the new land ahead of them, but they'd heard stories of native people living there. So while they called their destination or landing place the New World, we need to remember that it was not actually a new world and people already lived there, right? So they are arriving in a place where other people already live. How do you think that's going to go? It's definitely not a smart idea to go onto land where somebody else already lives. We're going to have to see what happens. Okay, click on the exit to get below, and I'll see you later, kindergarten.